Hey Honest community, before we dive into this episode, we've got a quick free favour to ask. If you enjoyed the Honest Property podcast, please hit like, follow and subscribe wherever you're listening from. It helps us grow, reach more people and bring on guests that you want to hear from. Thanks for being a part of this. We appreciate you more than you know.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Honest Property Podcast. Your host Becky and Ruth, the Honest Property Sisters. And we've got a multi-million-pound property portfolio over the last 12 years. And on this podcast, we love having unfiltered chats about building wealth, purpose and freedom that actually feels good for you. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about the fragility of having one income and what is the new security. So back in the day, our parents all believed job security was safety. But the reality has changed very much because in 2026, having one income source is perhaps the riskiest strategy of all.
It doesn't exist.
It is truly the riskiest because society and structure has just changed so much since then. That old model was very easy to understand and what we were raised to believe, unfortunately. We all thought that having one employer, well, going to school, getting good grades, then finding a great job really fast, having one employer, one salary, one pensions, just one.
I still want to add up. Also want to add, also going to university was so pushed as well.
Pushed, and now people are feeling the sting of that. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs reports show that millions of roles are being restructured due to automation and AI. It is scary how many people... Have you read the book Homo Deus, I think it's called?
Yeah.
We listened to it together in a car, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we were running our dog business, Ruth and I would be in the van picking up dogs and we'd listen to books together. And there was a section of it's by a guy called Noah Yuval Harari. Highly recommend this read. But disclaimer, I'm going to reveal that there is a section of the book that where he says that there's going to be a useless class of people. And when he says useless, it's because the jobs have been taken over by AI and automation, essentially. And there'll be a group of people that are unable to work because there are just no jobs. The gig economy has expanded. There are so many more freelancers than ever before. And the ONS data shows continued growth in self-employment and contract work, which I think is great. As long as you are balanced in this approach, because it's good to take control where you can have control, but you just want to make sure you balance it out. And I'm sure we're going to go into that a lot more later in this episode. But yeah, basically security was about being loyal to one company, one lane before, and now it means we have to use our initiative, our gut, and our brains to learn how to adapt really fast, especially nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did the reality of trying to rely on one source of income just doesn't exist anymore. And I'd like to even say I've seen so much online that talks about how, especially in Western world, or we can talk from experience in the UK, you basically need to have two incomes coming in, as in it's a two people working in a household. The living in the UK on one salary just doesn't exist anymore. Our parents, our mum was able to be the homemaker at home on our dad's salary alone. And that does not exist anymore at all. And I don't blame couples who are choosing to not grow a family or not even have children because they are having to work. They're both having to provide into the family unit, whether it's just like them two and a dog or like one child, there's just no capacity to be able to, like, how do you live? Do you know what I'm trying
Oh,
to say?
actually, I think you sent me this reel the other day. Oh no, maybe I didn't send, or maybe you sent it to me. I can't remember if I sent it to you. A reel was shared at some point or saved at some point recently, and it was a guy saying how if I'm going off on a tiny bit of a tangent, I promise I'll come back. But how having kids is like a wealth flex nowadays, as opposed to like what it was always something that was seen as like a lower class, lower. I don't like saying class, but like lower income households would have more kids, but it's actually flipped now because it's a status thing. If you can afford time and money that it takes to have lots of kids, that's a signal of wealth, which I think
To have 2 kids, even to have 2 kids, most people are opting to have one because they have to still work.
yeah,
Unless you want the state to look after your child.
kind of like, well, yeah, it's ruining the like traditional home environment, isn't it? And
Yeah.
kind of procreating, making people and growing the population for the sake of growing the workforce, as opposed to actually having a present family. Anyway, digressing. Could always talk about that in a future podcast if you're interested in that tangent. Let us know in the comments. But I'm going to bring it back and to the fragility of the single income. So, yeah, one income is you're exposing yourself to one point of failure if your employer restructures the business.
And then you're cut.
Yeah, or your biggest client, if you're a freelancer, decides to go with someone else.
Is the platform you use this, which is like social media. So I think
TikTok was or TikTok was like about to disappear for a moment, and it didn't in the end. But I think anyone who has a digital business knows that they market themselves through content, and you just have no idea. You're subject to whatever the algorithm rules and choices and preferences are at the time. So, yeah, you were just exposed. Yeah, wasn't there research on this?
So McKinsey research on income volatility shows households with diversified income streams are less vulnerable to shocks.
Yeah.
So diversification is not just for investments, it's for your paydays as well. So being able to, I mean, there's a reason why a lot of people have like side hustles, but like we're not saying build like 5 side hustles on the side of your job because like where then do you have the time? It's like designing income layers.
Most brokers specialise in residential mortgages, which is not what actual property investors need. So when you need bridging finance or specialised buy-to-let mortgage, you're explaining your strategy to someone who's never done a deal themselves. That's why we work with Scale Property Finance. They're specialists in bridging finance actual property investors who've borrowed from these lenders themselves. They know exactly which lenders work best for investors because they've been in your shoes. Simple, fast, flexible finance when you need it. If you're looking for a broker who actually understands property investing, then check out scalepropertyfinance.co.uk. Tell them we sent you and they'll knock £100 off your brokerage fee.
Yeah, yeah. From a personal point of view, Ruth and I have talked about this as a childhood story that led us into the route of investing a lot earlier. Was that like Ruth mentioned, our dad was the breadwinner of the family, and he was a freelancer, and he injured himself, which meant that he physically couldn't do the work to bring in finance for the family for a short time whilst he was recovering. And that was a shock because that had never happened before, but we had not really, as a household, considered having multiple streams of income. So from a personal point of view, this is one that, and like lesson, take it from our experience, this is something that needs to be built into your like financial ecosystem nowadays more than ever. So what income do you think survives all these cycles? Because it's also choosing things that are going to be resilient. You don't want to, you're going to pick a side hustle and it's like like a trending thing. I don't know what trending thing is. Like you don't want it to be a short-lived, something that's in a short-lived industry. Like this is gonna sound so weird, but like maybe blue eyelash extensions are like the thing, and that.
Oh, I love blue eyelashes. I really wanted to get. I saw the purple one. I was like, it's me. I could get this.
Anyway, I don't think they're gonna last very long as like your main job because like maybe, but I could feel like I'm butchering my point, but you know, you want something that's not just trendy. You want something that is like, okay, resilient. So it needs to be an income source that is essential. What's essential? Food. It's like Maslow's hierarchy, right? Food,
Food, shelter.
shelter, your biological requirements, um, relationships, community, like those are essential for, like on a scale, essential, of course, for human, like survival and happiness and satisfaction. Recurring revenue models. So if you're a freelancer, look for retainers, look for, like maybe offer more subscription services as opposed to one-off services to your clients, so that you know
You're not chasing your tail every single month, hoping that you'll still get someone booking you.
your invoice is paid. Yeah. Of course, asset-backed income. You are putting your money to work harder for you when you've earned it, and you're just reducing all your overheads in your business and in your life.
Yeah,
we're bringing up
that's a huge one. Like just reducing your overheads alone in your business and your life is like something that you absolutely have control over. Well, I'd like to think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's like the one thing that you can do straight away is reduce your overheads.
Yeah.
Or like analyze and see what can you actually reduce, what can you change. I mean, like we're even in the process of going right now, and Becky and I have been talking about some of the systems that we use. How can we make them not as expensive? And I think you need to constantly do an audit of that every single year. You don't have to just pay for something out because it's like convenient. Convenience keeps you stuck.
Convenience keeps you stuck. Oh, as in like because you can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Take the time to assess what you have control of, and your own subscriptions. And especially, okay, there's so many tools you can use for your business that is probably something to do with tech or like some type of system optimizing thing that you use. Systems out there that could even be one subscription for multiple tools that you use under one instead of having lots of different ones. So just like make sure you've got the best thing that is on the market for you and what your life, like your operating systems for your lifestyle and your business are. And audit it.
I would also say from like to bring it back to property is like if you're doing if you are renting a property that you do all bills included, then you would go out your way to see where you can compare energy prices to reduce that cost. You know, there's you don't have to just accept the price that you're given.
Royalty doesn't pay all the time. Unless you've got like a founder price or something and it's stuck at that price for ever, then that's a great deal as long as you're genuinely using the service that you signed up for. The IMF is just another resource for you guys. The IMF and Bank of England recession data consistently shows that essential services and rental housing demand remain relatively stable compared to speculative sectors. Why rental housing? Like, why do Ruth and I love property? And that's because regardless of what's happening People need somewhere to live.
Or, like go through a pandemic or something like that.
People still need to be indoors living somewhere. Like, that is always going to be a top demand. And guess what? It's recurring income because people pay rent monthly. That's what we're all about. But we love talking about the grander picture because it is just one piece of the pie. And we're also really loving the online space, as fast as it is and as tricky as it is to keep up sometimes. We think the rental space is another form of a digital asset. But there is a difference where if you're building a business online, attention-based income is rented because you're using platforms, right? Like Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, whatever
In those platforms.
Yeah, whatever your platform is that you're marketing yourself on, you're basically using as a billboard for your business. You don't own that, and that can change overnight. Like we said, with the TikTok situation, TikTok could just die on that. And if you built your whole business on one platform, it's gone without any of your own say.
Yeah.
Whereas asset-based income is owned. So if you own a property, that's within your control.
Before we continue, here's a quick thought. Ever feel like there's just never enough time to focus on what really matters in your business? You don't have to do it all alone. As they say, a great team makes everything easier. That's why we've partnered with the Freedom Geek. Their talented Filipino VAs help us with tasks like admin and podcast editing, just like for this episode, giving us the freedom to focus on what really moves the needle. If you're looking to reclaim your time and to work smarter, then check out the Freedom Geek. All the details are in the show notes. Now let's get back to our conversation.
Well, even like depending on how much, I was going to say depending on how much mortgage is on it. Yeah. What were you going to say?
So I also would say like even digital products too. You own that, but you have to market it on like social media or like wherever it is that you choose to promote your products. But we were talking as well before that we started this podcast about some of these influencers who realizing the volatility of relying on just working with brands and realizing how important it is to also build their own thing, like as well in the digital space. That it's also important to be able to create your own digital assets too, not just be doing it for other people.
I love seeing it. People just wanting to take control and own things more than just be at the mercy of something else. At the mercy of things that they can't control. But yeah, I mean, even with property income, it still needs management. And if you're going to delegate everything to your management company, this has happened to us. You can listen to a previous podcast about our experiences with management. We've got a few. But it's still your control, like your responsibility to take control. But the thing is with property, the demand for housing is always going to be there and it's recurring. So how would you design your income then so that it feels aligned and more calm?
I think in 2026, like a kind of bulletproof bulletproof strategy would be to build the stable base income, whichever is like the main income. Whether that's you work in a 9-to-5 job or you're building your own business, that's like giving you monthly recurring income. Then one scalable upside income, so that's like a side hustle, or something, or just like something, something that is scalable that you can market, you can promote. If it's a digital product, one asset-based income like property. And control your fixed costs when it comes to your business or your personal life. So this reduces your fragility. And security in 2026 is not certainty, it's optionality. Then most people The most secure people are not the ones with the biggest salaries, are the ones with the most options. So you can see these people who earn like hundreds of thousands a year, but they're actually still like chasing their tail and are like, because everything is so, their whole life, their business life is so, or the work life is just so costly. But it always tends to be, I hear stories of like people who, that was it. I listened to a podcast recently, and it was the guy who wrote Smart Women Finish First. I think you read this book, Monet.
Yeah.
And it was about his grandma, and she didn't even have a high income. If you haven't read this book, it's basically about a book written for women, basically saying how important it is to like be financially literate. And it's based on his grandmother who she didn't even earn much money at all, but she was very disciplined and being the first in the family to become a millionaire, because she had the discipline to make sure that she didn't just accept or settle for the cost of her life, and invested and made sure that she invested the paycheck from her husband. Yeah,
So clever.
yeah, so clever. And it's like, I think there's a misconception that you need to earn like tons and tons of money, but it's not. It's like like making sure that you're left with the margin, which is what we talked about in a previous podcast. Margin is queen, and it's not just about earning the most money that you can. It means nothing if you're not able to keep any of it. And sometimes that means like a difficult discussion with yourself on how to reduce your costs. We're not anti-job, we're not anti-business, we're not anti-digital income, and we are just anti-single point of failure. Income adaptability is the new security, and the goal is not to hustle endlessly, because we are definitely not pro hustling endlessly either. It's to build enough diversified income that you can breathe. Yeah. So we don't chase more income for the ego. We build diversified income so we can live calmly now and in the future.
Yeah.
Because there could also be, like I said, keep getting that pay rise or keep building and earning more money, but you're just creating your own hamster wheel that you can never get off.
Yeah. So take advantage of what we're allowed to do with, having access to the internet is we live in such an amazing time where we can create income just by logging into the internet, or, just creating a side hustle so easily, or applying to higher paying jobs. Take advantage of what you can now, and just remember to practice putting that into assets that will pay for you later, because the world will change so fast. And
It's changing fast right now.
yeah, the world is changing fast, and you want to live this life without financial stress. And the best way to do it is to not depend on one point of failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you ever need a second, if you ever want to bounce what's going on in your head off of us, or have a second opinion on anything, feel free to join the Aligned Wealth Collective. That's where Ruth and I and several other experienced and other people who are at the beginning of their journey are. Because some people really enjoy being part of a community to move forward and not having to figure things out by themselves. So that option is there for you guys. We'll put it in the description down below. And always thank you again for listening to the Honest Property Podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.